Welcome back for the second in our screencast series on secondary materials. In episode 2, we will look at treatises. I suggest that you view this screencast in full screen mode so that you can see the details of the screen as we discuss them. So, let's look at our standard question. What are treatises and why do you care? Or really, why are they useful? You will probably use treatises most frequently once you become more experienced in a particular area of law, and that is because of the answer to the question of what are treatises. Treatises are essentially an in-depth work on a specific topic by an expert in that particular topic. So treatises are on the other end of the spectrum from encyclopedias. Encyclopedias will cover a whole lots of different topics, but in a very basic way. Treatises are going to cover a single topic, but do so very much in depth. So treatises are going to be really useful for complex areas like tax and securities where there are a lot of complicated, complex issues. Treatises will help you synthesize the various aspects of those complex issues. Another thing treatises will help you do is to give you the overall context of a particular legal issue or question. This is really important because keyword searching can be very misleading. You will look at particular areas where your keywords appear without having an understanding of how what you're reading fits into the overall larger context of your particular issue. Keywords will give you a more sophisticated advanced treatment, so it will give you an understanding of the overall issue. Treatises can also give you practical guidance, especially if they are practitioner-oriented treatises. By practical guidance, you might find checklists, you might find a step-by-step guide on how to represent a client in a particular matter. And depending on the expertise of the author, treatises may carry persuasive weight. So in some court opinions, you might find a citation to a treatise such as Nimmer on copyright, where the judge has found what Nimmer has to say to be persuasive. Okay, so hopefully we understand what treatises are and why we care. So how would you find treatises? Your favorite reference librarian is one way, and I'm not joking about that. Hopefully you know that you can stop by the reference desk and ask any kind of research question that you may have. What you may not know is that after you graduate, you will have library privileges for life. So you are more than welcome to come see us and let us know how you're doing. We'd love to see you and ask whatever research questions you may have. If you're in the area. If you're not in the area, you're welcome to give us a call. And again, as Hofstra Law graduates, as alumni, you will have lifetime privileges to use the library. Other ways to find treatises are through references from other secondary sources. Another way is through subject guides on the web. You will find treatises on Bloomberg, Lexis, and Westlaw. We'll talk about how to find them and use them in class. You might also find treatises in specialized topical databases, and you see example here. If you're lucky, you'll find treatises on Google Books. I'm always a little wary of Google Books because frequently you will only find snippets of the particular book on Google Books, so it is of limited usefulness, I've found. And one more way to find treatises is using a library catalog. What is a library catalog? I think most of you may not have used one much, if at all. Library catalog is, in essence, an index to book titles or journal titles. Now, journal titles, I mean the title of the entire journal, not the contents. So title of entire journal would be the Hofstra Law Review or the Hofstra Labor and Employment Law Journal. Catalogs will not have the articles within those journals. You won't be able to search by article title in a catalog. Another thing catalogs will not do is allow you to search full text. Now, sometimes that's a disadvantage because when you find something, you want to read the full text, but sometimes that can be an advantage if you're getting way too many hits on something, if you're using very common search terms. So sometimes catalogs can help in that regard. Catalogs will tell you, again, they'll tell you the titles, they'll tell you the authors. Titles will also give you subject descriptors, and we'll talk a little bit more about them in just a few minutes. So a tip for searching catalogs, since it is not full text, although this really is a good tip for searching full text databases as well. If you don't find a title on your particular topic, try to think of a broader topic term. So as you can see the example here, if you have a question regarding consideration, if you're searching the library catalog, you may not find an entire treatise about consideration. But if you think about the broader area of law that it falls under, contract law, of course, you will find lots and lots of good treatises on contracts in the catalog. And again, this is also a good tip even if you are doing full text searching. If you're browsing, you might want to be browsing for the broader topic, or even after you've done your keyword search for your specific issue, you might want to browse for resources that contain those search terms, but those resources are on those broader topics. So what are some useful catalogs we have available to us? Well, here at Hofstra, we have Lexicat, which essentially is Hofstra's catalog that tells us what all of the Hofstra libraries have. And this includes titles for ebooks as well as titles for good old-fashioned hard copy print books. Another catalog is WorldCat, and we'll talk about WorldCat and what it does in just a moment. But let's first dive into Lexicat and see how that works. So here you see the basic Lexicat screen, and it provides us for a box to search keywords. We all know how to do that, so I'm not going to go into any more detail for that at the moment. But let's see what else Lexicat will do for us. And I am going to try a search by title. Now you may say, wait a minute, for our client regarding whether she can sue the HMO, we don't know any title treatise yet. Why are we starting with that? Well, I call this my I'm feeling lucky tip, which yes, I did steal that from Google. And I know, again, our broader category might be healthcare law, right? So I type in our broader category and see if we get lucky. And as I scroll down here, a whole lot of titles starting with healthcare law, not especially surprisingly. And this third one actually looks kind of interesting, a practical guide. Since we are representing a real client, having a practical guide might be really useful. So let's see what we get in our results here. So we get a couple of results, the exact same title, so they probably are the same work. Let's take a closer look at each. So this practical guide, now we know as one of the themes of our course, we need to be bibliographically aware. So I want to take a look at the date. And what I see is, this first one's from 1985. So that's kind of a little old. And notice this little dash right after. That super top secret librarian code for this work may be updated. Not definitely, and it may eventually have stopped being updated, but when you see that dash, you know that the work might have been updated. The other thing I see here in this first one is that I have an actual location in the library. It's called Law Classified, and an actual call number. That tells me that this is a print book because it's located in an actual brick and mortar location within the library. In this second entry, we see again the same title, and we see this is 2012. And again, that little hyphen telling me that it might have been updated. So again, being bibliographically aware, I'm going to be more likely to want to look at the 2012 version rather than the 1985 version. And what I see, I don't see a location, I see a website, which is telling me, not surprisingly, this is going to be online somewhere. So let's click on the title and find out more about it. And sure enough, it is online, and it's telling me here that I need a Lexis login. So it's telling me it's going to be online on Lexis. So here it takes me directly to the treatise and the table of contents of the treatise. Now, I had previously signed into Lexis, so that's why it takes me directly. If you haven't already signed into Lexis, it will take you to this screen just before will be the Lexis sign-on. You'll put in your Lexis credentials, and then once you click on login, it will bring you to this table of contents screen. So again, being bibliographically aware, we want to see how up-to-date this treatise is. So in looking here at the table of contents, we would probably guess, and it would be a good one, to take a look at publication information. But in looking at what is listed here, probably copyright is going to be the best one here. But as it turns out, Lexis has this other section sometimes in its treatises called What's New. So if you see that on Lexis and can remember, check that first. And as we see that there is indeed a publication update. But if you don't see that, then the copyright link under publication information would be the place to go. But we do have What's New and we do have publication update. And if we take a look at that, we get to see how up-to-date our publication is and to what extent we can rely upon it for current information. Okay, so let's go back to our catalog and let's take a look at the advanced search. Now, an advanced search in many different databases has the same structure where we have multiple boxes we can enter and then we can choose what field to search with each particular box. So let's see how we might want to take advantage of that. So perhaps our healthcare law title search didn't work. So I know I might want to try different types of search terms. So maybe I know that we are in the managed care world. So I know that I want to find managed care in the title somewhere. And I know that I don't want to read about the business of managed care. I want to read about the law. So I want the word law in any field. Now, yes, you can put all 3 words and do a keyword search as well. This is just to show you how to take advantage of the advanced keyword search. And so here we see some results. Managed care litigation. That looks kind of promising. Here's another book, Strangers in the Night, Law and Medicine in the Managed Care Era. That also sounds kind of promising. And we see the same entry here, so I'm guessing we would guess they're the same book and they're the same year, so it's the same edition. Again, I can see the main difference is this one has a physical location, so it's a print book, whereas this one, it tells me it's an ebook. So let's take a quick look at ebooks. One thing you want to know about ebooks is that for whatever ebooks we have available here anywhere at Hofstra, the best way, and arguably the only way to identify them and then get access to them is through the catalog. So if someone tells you there's an ebook here at Hofstra, you need to look at the catalog. And the way we access ebooks is through the link here, online version. And what it's directing me to is to authenticate through our proxy server. So if you are looking at home, you will get the same authentication screen. So I will put in my portal credentials. And why this is significant to you is first how to access ebooks, but also while you are still a student here at Hofstra, you will be able to access these ebooks on campus, from home, by logging in just as I showed you. However, once you graduate, this is one example of where you will no longer have access to the resource. So as I like to say, this is a resource that is for Hofstra people only, and as long as you are a Hofstra people, you will be able to access it. Another example, again, unfortunately, is once you graduate, Lexis and Westlaw access will phase out after a number of months after you graduate, as well as Bloomberg. But we are still all Hofstra people, so we can look at this ebook, and here is what an ebook might look like at Hofstra. And so you could look at it in PDF, or we can scroll down and take a look at the table of contents and investigate this ebook. Okay, so let's go back to our record here where we click to get into the ebook, Strangers in the Night, and let's investigate one other aspect of the catalog, and that is the subject listings. These are sometimes called subject headers, subject descriptors, or sometimes just subject, like we say here. What these are, and again, why you care, these are essentially serve pretty much the same function as hashtags do on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or whatever social media you like. So just as on Facebook you might click on a hashtag to get more Facebook posts on a particular subject, when you see subjects in research databases, you would click on that subject to get more titles on that particular subject. So if we click on this subject, it will bring us to a screen and it will tell us for that subject there are 40 titles. How cool is that? We now have 39 more titles we can investigate having to do with managed care law. And another trick, and here are those titles, another trick I like to use sometimes, since again we like to read more up-to-date resources when we can, is I might find the sorting choice, go reverse year, sometimes it's reverse chronologically, whatever they want to call it. Click on sort and scroll down and I might find some more current treatises on healthcare law, for instance, healthcare benefits law from 2013. Again, with that little hyphen, it might be updated. So that is how we would use those subject tag links, if you will. So we've pretty much done a good job, I think, of investigating Lexicat. Let's take a look at WorldCat. What WorldCat does is pull together the resources, the titles from many, many, many libraries' catalogs. So as you can imagine, WorldCat is pretty extensive. Why do you care? Why would you use WorldCat? Well, if we don't have anything that is useful here at Hofstra, but you really want to go more in depth, you might want to investigate WorldCat in order to identify another title, and then you would come to us and we could figure out how we might be able to find that title at another library. You could actually also do this and go to your favorite public library and see if they could find the title for you. But while you're here at Hofstra, take advantage and we would be happy to help you. So here we see the basic search. We can also do an advanced search. Just to give you an example of what WorldCat might look like, I'm going to try searching managed care, plans, liability. And here you see the results. And just as we did on Lexicat, we can also sort by date if we are interested. Probably newest first is how we would want to go. Okay. Remember to go to Lexis Classroom and go to the Secondary Sources module and to answer the screencast questions for our Treatises screencast. That's it for now.